Here we go. Good evening. It is nice fall night, November the 4th, 2019, 6 p.m. Time to call the City Council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbott? Mr. Austin?
Here.
Mr. Blankenship?
Here.
Mr. Eggers?
Here.
Mr. Hukin?
Here.
Mr. Richards?
Here.
Mr. Wertz?
Here.
Sir, you have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Wertz, would you do the prayer and pledge, please?
You will bow your head. Father, be with our military men and women around the world who protect our freedoms, and with all who have served in our military as we celebrate Veterans Day on November 11th. Also, Franklin's first responders, the police and fire departments who make our city safe. Be with all of the city employees who provide the many services for Franklin. Father, be with Franklin's mayor, our city council, clerk, and attorney as we conduct the business of our fantastic city with a positive leadership and direction. Be with our candidates tomorrow as they are our leaders for the future. Father, let us appreciate Discover Downtown Franklin for all they do as we celebrate the Downtown Holiday Open House Friday and Saturday. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you again. Just want to recognize Franklin College students here and Mr. Hukin, who taught at the college last year, just advised me that one of the students, he had me come and speak at the class one time, and one of the students are here, so.
Couple of them are.
Yeah.
One of them's a big race car fan too.
Yeah, and so I talked about me, and I said, "Bet you can't guess what my job is now." Nobody can guess that I was the mayor. So that was a good. That was
They
a good
had to
day.
come here and see it to believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for being here. Thank all of you for being here. Do we have any other announcements? Chief. Chief Dan McLeay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to inform the City Council that I will be stepping down as Chief of the Franklin Fire Department and return to Merritt Campton as of January 1, 2020. It's been my pleasure to serve as Chief of the department for the last 4 years. Although it's been challenging, it's also been rewarding. I'm returning to Merritt Campton on shift and looking forward to continuing to watch the fire department grow as it has over the last 4 years. Some people may be thinking, why is Dan done this 2 months early? A good part of this was to give the mayor a chance to find a replacement for the fire chief. It's not as simple as you. So wanted to let the mayor know early enough that he could work on a replacement for myself. Over the past 4 years, just some of my highlights that we've done over the department. None of this could have been done without me, or without the guys. Yeah, I'll take all the credit. I want to take all the credit because I tell you, I can't spell cat, let alone write a sentence, but the research Deputy Chief Payne's done, Matt Hall, Don, a lot of the firefighters themselves to help put this stuff together. Over the past 4 years, we brought in over $456,964 in grant money that we saved the city. The first big purchase was over $216,000. Jason Powell was one of the firefighters that really pushed for this and worked on it to replace our SCBA equipment, our air bottles and tanks that were coming into life. We got the Johnson County Community Foundation grant that we replaced and upgraded our Project Life Saving Program stuff for autistic children and older citizens with Alzheimer's. It's a tracking device, and as these patients would, not patients, but clients would wander off, with GPS coordinates, we can track them down and find them, and that has paid off. We replaced numerous extrication equipment, chainsaws, just things that became old. These are small grants, $3,000, $4,000 grants, but hey, why not jump on it when we can? The last big grant that we just received through FEMA was over $223,000, and that's gonna replace our new radios that are again at the end of their life. Brought in over 9 new firefighters over my 4 years. We've had a small turnover with people retiring or moving on to other departments. Bought a new truck, you guys remember the new truck we purchased, the new fire engine, it came in, it's been a great truck, I think it looks great. So just a few highlights over my past 4 years. I look forward to the work with the new chief and the new administration, any questions they may have. One thing I did forget, our ISO rating improved, which is a big win-win. Now, we had a very small part of it, our dispatching center and Indiana American Water, all are key players in that. But by all of us working together, we dropped our down into the fours now for our rating, which helps out with insurance companies and hopefully can attract businesses here with a lower ISO rating. But I just want to thank you, council, for all your help. I know I've talked to many of you over the course of 4 years. I want to thank the mayor for all his guidance and help in this great opportunity to be chief.
Thank you, Dan, and I just publicly want to say to the council that I appreciate you as being the chief and what you've accomplished, and glad that you're going to stay on and help move our department forward, so thank you for your service.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chief.
Is there any other announcements or presentations, any public comments? I know Marty discovered downtown Franklin. Krista's not here right now, but we were just told as of a few hours ago, Main Street for the year in Indiana been selected as that, so that's a big accomplishment for Discover Downtown Franklin. Thank you for that.
What's the designation, Tara?
It's from Visit Indy. It's the best main street in Indiana.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a big deal.
Good.
So
Thanks all you guys on the council, right?
Thank you for your great work.
Thank you, Mark.
No Main Street.
Okay, is there any other announcements, presentations, public comments?
I think it meant Jefferson. It's the main thoroughfare.
No, it was Main Street. So it was
Was
a
it?
picture that was submitted.
Yeah, the picture was of Jefferson.
It was North Main. It was teeing into the courthouse, and the art
Picture I saw
craft,
was Jefferson.
and the art craft was there.
Well, okay.
It's a Main Street organization that gets the name.
But yeah.
So, okay, hearing nothing else, let's go to the consent agenda.
Move to approve the minutes from October 21st, 2019.
Second.
Second by Mr. Wertz, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, there isn't any old business, so we will go on to new business.
Move to read new business by
Title only.
Second.
Second by Mr. Eggers. We have a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Request to provide a brief update on Johnson County Trails Master Trail Plan adoption and next steps for the organization. Carmen Parker. And as Carmen's walking up, Carmen is the Tara in Whiteland. And I want you to know that that Carmen's worked really hard on this to make get a plan for countywide trails. It's been, 2-3 years you've been working on this that I'm aware of.
Yes, sir.
So how about that? Thank you.
Absolutely, and I won't take too much time, but we are a volunteer-led group that started back in 2016 in October, and actually it started in Whiteland as we wanted trails. We had 0.0 miles of trails, and so the only way you could go is up or at mileage. So it was actually when Mayor McGinnis was in your seat, and I invited him to come to the meeting as well as representatives from the Parks and Rec Department and Greenwood as well, because my vision for trails has always been bigger than wherever we want trails. So when it was Whiteland, it was how do we connect to Greenwood and Franklin, and that kind of started the whole conversation. So we quickly affiliated with the Johnson County Development Corporation's community development arm of their organization, Aspire Johnson County, and that really gave us legs for this. It did take us a couple of years to kind of figure out what do we want to do, but what we quickly identified is we needed a master trail plan for the county. In our first meeting with the county commissioners, they looked at me and said, yeah, that would be great, but we don't have money for that. And so that was kind of our challenge, was what can we do as a volunteer organization, a grassroots organization, to gather dollars to bring this plan together. So we, again, being a part of the Johnson County Development Corporation, we were able to come across a funding opportunity from the Opus Foundation. It was a local developers foundation, Opus group, and we applied for that funding last June and were awarded in September of last year a $40,000 unrestricted grant. For many of you that have worked on master plans, $40,000 isn't a lot of money. So we kind of, were like, what can we do to get to closer to my goal was $100,000. But as we got going, I looked around the room and looked to our other volunteers and I said, you know what? We're gonna do this a little different. I'm not gonna spend all of our money on a plan. So we happened to, we interviewed a couple of engineering firms and happened to come across a gentleman who had been with a larger firm who wanted to start his own business and kind of needed to get his feet wet in the community. So we were able to kind of convince him, hey, come do our plan for $40,000. And guess what? He did it because he was looking to build his book of business and kind of keep some relationships going, but also use this as an opportunity to kind of say, look at what I was able to do, and to get his business going. So we worked with Griffin Collaborative Designs, and he did a great job of coming and meeting with Chip and other representatives. I know Franklin was working on their master pedestrian plan and bike plan. So it was really just what can we do to collaborate and make this bigger and better to benefit every single resident in Johnson County, bring economic development to our community, and what could we do? So we took the summer to gather all the information we needed. We presented to the Plan Commission, the County Plan Commission in August, and they provided us a favorable recommendation to the county commissioners, and it was adopted in September. So since then, this is kind of our visit around the county to kind of give everybody saying that we had gotten this approved, and our next steps are kind of working with the county on what can we do to help them as they proceed with transportation. We know that their road infrastructure is a huge part of their coming budget needs. So we kind of looked at what are those things we can do. We've already met with the highway department, and we're still looking for other funding opportunities. So we've identified some priorities, and I know that I think there was some things sent in your packet, the map itself, and then also the priorities. Not that it doesn't include the Franklin area, but what can we do? And so we're really looking to collaborate. That's our biggest thing, is to collaborate with the communities. How do we get that connectivity? How do we incorporate what's already being done, and what can we do to assist our other municipalities? So just wanted to kind of give you an update. We are looking at doing a phase 2 since it was a $40,000 plan. We had to cut some things out. That phase 2 is really looking at the municipalities that don't have a planning department, that don't have the resources to build a master trail plan within their boundaries. What can we do to help them? So we want to be here as an advocate for trails. We want to be here to educate folks on how to use the trails and how to ride safely or walk safely, run safely on the roads. We want to bring economic development too. So all about the money, right? So that's.
And I think we all know that without a plan, the funding opportunities are not there. So.
Well, I have a shovel in my car, and I mean, that's kind of, I don't have the background of an engineer or a parks director. I want trails, and so I'll do it however I need to, but I figured out quickly you gotta have a plan, so can't just take my shovel out and start digging.
Well, I know we have plans in place, and I know Mr. Austin here been talking to me about Jefferson Street sidewalks or trails down Jefferson Street through Jefferson Meadows for a couple years now, and we have applied with the Safe Routes to School program to get a grant to be able to do that. But if we didn't have a master plan, they wouldn't even take our application. So
Yep.
I commend you for what you've done. You've done a great job.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, so it's awesome.
And it's, we've got proposed 168 miles of trails in the plan. Of that, 97 or 98 miles are paved paths, and then the remainder are shared roadways, so.
And I don't think that counts what we're trying to do on US 31 either.
It does not. I mean, it is on the, if you look at the map, it's like an orange dashed line.
Right.
That's the Franklin portion, but that's with the talks that Jason had with you all here at Franklin, just to kind of learn that is a part of that. My hopes is that those orange dash lines go all the way up through Whiteland and New Whiteland into Greenwood, so that's kind of my push is, again, collaboration is key and kind of setting aside our party affiliations or setting aside, well, this is Franklin and that's Whiteland, and kind of setting aside those kind of things has really been key for this. This is one thing that everybody agreed that we need. So it's hopes to keep it going.
You guys have any questions for Carmen?
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, that gets us to the next item. Common Council Ordinance number 19-06. An ordinance approving resolution 2019-15 of the City of Franklin, Indiana. Plan Commission rezoning certain property to mixed-use regional center, be known as Thompson rezoning. Senior Planner Joanna Myers.
Good evening. Tom Thompson and Larry Jesse are here as the petitioners. What is before you is a request for rezoning of approximately 26 acres, which is located on the east side of US 31, north of Sloan Drive. Address 3601 North US 31. This went before the Planning Commission on October 15th and has been forwarded to you with a favorable recommendation of a unanimous vote of those attending that meeting. The request is to rezone the property from agriculture and industrial general to mixed-use regional center, which is one of our commercial zoning districts, and also to have the gateway overlay remain as is. Is before you this evening for introduction. We'd like you to set that for public hearing for November 18th. At that time, it will also be advertised.
And 2 meetings, is that all that's required?
Correct.
Okay.
It'll be public hearing in November if you're inclined to set it.
You need a motion to set it for hearing?
Yes.
I'll move that the matter be set for hearing on November 18th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Okay. I think that.
We won't hold that against you.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's in the record now.
Yeah.
No going back.
So you're gonna lose one vote.
This isn't good.
I'm thinking that's a piece of property to have a trail right running through it, you know?
Okay, thank you, Joanna. Okay, next, this is also introduction only, amended Common Council Budgetary Ordinance number 19-14, fixing the annual salaries and providing compensation for all elected officials. The City of Franklin, Indiana for year 2020. Clerk Treasurer Jane Rhodes, and no, we did not mess this up. It was something that you just found out, so. Yeah.
We went to, my office went to a state board of accounts meeting on the 23rd of October, and they so graciously said that if we did not have language in our elected officials' salary ordinance that stated that elected officials receive compensation for health benefits, just any kind of benefits, our life insurance, that needed to now be part of our ordinance. Our handbook states all full-time employees. Well, that's what we thought we were full-time employees, but we're elected officials, so therefore that did not cover it. So
That's that asterisk there.
yes, so the asterisk at the end of it is what we added, and it just says city judge, clerk treasurer, and mayor receive non-monetary value benefits for life insurance, health insurance, disability insurance, retirement benefits, and pension benefits as paid to all regular full-time employees. So we're not getting anything that we haven't always gotten, that every employee of the city, full-time employee of the city gets.
And we can't just use the language, councilman, mayors, of all elected officials, because as you know, you don't,
We don't
you're
get it.
elected officials, you
So
don't
we
get it.
had
And quite frankly, we've done this for years and years and years and years.
Right.
A part of me thinks the State Board of Accounts had to find some bullet points to have everybody do this year. And so the easiest way to do it, rather than revise our entire employee handbook and add those 3 identities in there, was simply add an asterisk to our salary ordinance. And that would satisfy them.
It was a very vocal group of basically women that said, you're just now telling us this when we've already all passed our salary.
I'll move for approval of an asterisk.
We have to actually, sir, we have to actually say, believe it or not, it's an amendment to our ordinance, so we've got to introduce it today and then approve it next time.
But is it, because it's a budgetary ordinance, do we have to do 3 meetings?
No,
Any action?
it's the salary ordinance, we just have to set it for a public hearing. And I would like to think that there's some rationale behind it, but that's what they told us to do.
I'd make a motion to set up for a public hearing on November 18th.
Thank you.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ayers, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Just for the record, I heard you say something about retirement benefits. It takes a lot of years to get to retirement benefits, so I just want everybody to know, I don't get any retirement benefits. So I'm saying, yeah, so.
You're old enough for them, though.
I'm old enough. I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that. Okay.
Interrupt Raleigh, huh?
Yeah. All right, that gets us to other business, and what this is, information only, 2020 holiday schedule, and council and board of works meeting dates. I got with the clerk treasurer's office, and we set the dates kind of mirroring what we had the last several years. In January and February, we only have 1 meeting because of holidays. However, special occasion with enough due notice, we could schedule another meeting if we see that we need to do that. So just wanted to let everybody know that. So, any questions on that? Hearing none, we'll go to council member comments. Mr. Austin?
Well, I don't have anything at this point other than, good luck to everyone tomorrow.
Something going on tomorrow?
Yeah, it's small thing.
Okay.
Very big thing, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot going on.
Mr. Keegan?
Mayor, may I make a comment on this?
Yeah.
Okay. We have in front of us a letter from a citizen, Linda Teeter, regarding concerns about Hospital Road. Am I all right to disclose kind of what we talked about?
Sure.
Okay. Essentially, Linda is talking about the Hospital Road being, needs a good look at because of lighting issues and the fact that it could be considered dangerous. I think that, I'm just talking about this so it goes on record that Linda brought this up and that we're having some discussion about it. I agree with her. The mayor and I had a conversation about this. If you go out the Hospital Road on any school day from 7 to 8 a.m., you'll find that that's probably one of the most heavily traveled streets in Franklin. And it wasn't really built for that, but most of the Custer Baker traffic now has been diverted to that. And combine that with hospital traffic and county highway and county employee traffic and everything else, it is that'd be one of them roads that we can get on a grant list or something at some point, maybe for an upgrade, I don't know. But I just want to go on record. I agree with Linda and appreciate you letting me kind of voice my concern about that road as well.
Well, if I can just tag team.
Yeah, go ahead.
Working with Mark, city engineer, that's one of the places we put in for the Safe Routes to School program. Country View Trailer Court for the kids
Right.
crossing right there is absolutely dangerous. And we're looking to try to put a light up there for the kids to be able to cross with some sidewalks and definitely do the striping. Next year, our plan is to stripe, working with Brett just today, striping a lot of roads next year that we have in town that for maintenance issues, that we're gonna try to keep up with that every year, striping, and just like we do with our, mill and overlay programs, try to keep up with all that stuff.
Yeah, that's no criticism at all of anybody, around in your department, it's just, you know, I can remember that was a gravel road, at least Hospital Road section of it was.
What made you oil?
But it is, just go out there some morning, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's a neat little look, yeah.
Mayor, I think the sidewalk, the point you brought up, I think is probably key, is keeping the kids off the road.
Correct.
You know, and if we could do something like that to our sidewalk program that we have currently. I know that's a long stretch, right? But anyway, I know you're looking at it for sure, because I totally agree with Linda and Bob, so.
Well, I see it, I take a couple days, 5 days a week, I take a couple girls to Custer Baker, so I'm up early doing that, and I get to see that in the dark, so it's kind of a tough stretch.
It is.
Anything else?
There was, I forgot what it was.
We'll come back if you remember.
Just want to say hi to the Franklin College kids. Who's class, or who's the professor making you come in for this?
Better Herrick.
How come he's not here? Knowing that. All right.
One thing I'd like to add, the Johnson County Trail Master Plan and adoption, I think is critical. Almost 8 years I've been on here, I've promoted trails and walkways, and I think that's a very vital part to our county, along with the connection for Franklin to those outlying areas for our walkers, joggers, and bike riders. So I hope the city moves forward with that.
Mr. Ayers.
Get out and vote tomorrow for election day. Good luck to everybody.
Mr. Blankenship.
No comments, Mayor.
Mr. Richards.
Nothing this evening.
Ms. Rhodes.
Nothing, sir.
Okay, and I think I've said enough tonight, so we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Second by Mr. Blankenship. All those in favor?
Aye.